This constant search for perfection can paralyze us. It becomes a comfortable excuse to avoid actions and keeping us from making progress or seizing opportunities. The cost of this waiting game is high. While we are busy chasing the perfect conditions, life keeps moving. And with it, countless opportunities and chances to learn, to grow, and discover new paths. Welcome to Soul Time, a show that explores the world of unlocking your unique potential. My name is Dr. Katja Makowka, and I'm a teacher at school, a former teacher at universities, and a stress and mental coach. And I'm your host. Let's face it, we all have a tendency to wait for the so-called perfect moment. We tell ourselves, I will start when I have more time, or I will take that leap once I have got everything figured out. This mindset can feel safe. It gives us a reason to hold off until we feel more prepared, or when the situation feels just right. But let's face the truth. That perfect moment rarely comes. We will never feel 100% ready to start. And waiting for the ideal conditions often leads to procrastination. We get stuck in the planning phase, tweaking details and second guessing and waiting for everything to magically fall into place. This constant search for perfection can paralyze us. It becomes a comfortable excuse to avoid actions and keeping us from making progress or seizing opportunities. The cost of this waiting game is high. While we are busy chasing the perfect conditions, life keeps moving. And with it, countless opportunities and chances to learn, to grow, and discover new paths. Every time we delay, we miss the opportunity to create momentum and gather feedback or even just make that first small step forward. We often think that the conditions have to be flawless for us to succeed, but success is usually born from trial, error, and most importantly, action, even when everything isn't perfectly aligned. Perfection is a myth that is not existing in reality. Nobody is perfect, and there is never a situation that is perfect either. Here's the thing about taking action, even when it's messy. It creates momentum. When you start moving, even if it's imperfect, you break free from the cycle of inaction and overthinking. And there is a real power in taking that first tiny step. Because once you are in motion, it's easier to keep going. Each small action, no matter how flawed, pushes you forward and gives you something to build on. Overthinking, on the other hand, keeps you stuck. It's like being trapped in a mental loop. You replay the same scenarios in your head, trying to map out everything and every detail or avoid every potential mistake. But what happens? Nothing. You get so caught up in planning that you never actually move. You are waiting for the perfect solution, the perfect time, or the perfect plan. And that wait can last forever. But when you take action, even if you don't have it all figured out, you create clarity. With each step, you learn more, you adapt, and figure out what works. And the path becomes clearer through going, not through thinking. Sure, it might feel messy or uncomfortable at first, but that's how the progress works. The more you take proactive action steps and leave your comfort zone, the more confident you become. And before you know it, what once seemed impossible or uncertain begins to become a part of the new you. Action, even when imperfect, breaks the cycle of overthinking and creates the momentum you need to reach your goals and your most audacious dreams. And here is something that might surprise you. The path ahead often becomes clearer once you start moving. You might think you need all the answers before you begin, but the truth is, clarity often shows up along the way, not beforehand. And when you take imperfect steps, you open yourself up to learning, adapting, and discovering new possibilities you couldn't have seen from the starting line. Look at any successful entrepreneur or artist, and you will find this pattern. Take Steve Jobs, for example. He didn't have the perfect vision for Apple when he first started. He simply began with an idea, acted on it, and refined the process as he went. It was those imperfect actions, the ones where things didn't go as planned, that helped him and his team innovate and adjust and eventually creating some of the most iconic products in history. Or think about authors like J.K. Rowling. She was rejected by numerous publishers before Harry Potter finally got picked up. It wasn't a flawless journey, and there were plenty of moments of doubt. But she kept writing, kept submitting, and that persistence, those imperfect steps, led her to monumental success. What's clear from their stories is that they didn't wait for the perfect moment to take action. They started, learned from their mistakes, and let each step guide the next one. And their clarity came through engagement, through doing, not from waiting until everything was lined up perfectly. The same goes for all of us. When we start acting, the fog lifts little by little. We gain insights we could never have predicted, and the next steps become clear while going. Let's talk about failures. Most of us have been conditioned to fear them, to avoid failure at all costs. But here is a powerful shift in perspective. What if we saw failures not as roadblocks, but as essential learning opportunities? In reality, every failure we have to face is just a part of the whole process. The fine tuning our goals and sharpening our vision over time. Think about it. When you fail, you get feedback. And that feedback tells you what didn't work. And with that knowledge, you are better equipped to adjust your approach and try again. Instead of putting yourself down, you actually move forward with more clarity. In fact, the more risks you take, the more opportunities you create. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When inventing the light bulb, he famously said, "I haven't failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Each attempt, each so-called mistake was a stepping stone towards his ultimate success. If Edison had feared making mistakes, we might still be lighting our homes with candles. And the same applies in our own lives. Whether you are launching a business, starting new creative projects, or simply trying to make a big life change, you will face bumps along your personal way. But each of those stepping stones holds valuable lessons. The more you engage, the more you learn, and the more clearer becomes the direction. So reframe failures as part of the journey. Every step is a chance to learn and a chance to grow. And instead of waiting for perfection, embrace those imperfect actions. They are moving you toward the clarity and success you seek. And now that we have explored the power of imperfect actions, let's focus on how to actually get started. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when we think about our big goals, our big visions, and our big dreams. But here is the secret. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start. The key is to take one small imperfect step in the direction of your goal. Don't wait until you have all the answers or everything feels perfectly aligned, because, honestly, that moment might never come. Starting small means there's no huge commitment, just a simple first step. Whether it's writing the first page of a book, sending an email you have been putting off, or trying out a new idea in your work, the act of starting creates momentum. Once you begin, the next steps will reveal themselves naturally. The next hack is set micro goals. If the thought of that first step feels daunting, break it down further. Set tiny micro goals that are so manageable you can accomplish them in just a few minutes. Maybe it's writing for 10 minutes instead of an hour, or researching for 15 minutes rather than an entire afternoon. Micro goals reduce the pressure of getting things perfect, because the task is so small, it's hard to feel intimidated. These tiny steps add up over time and make even the biggest tasks feel more achievable. Lastly, embrace the process of iteration. Don't worry about getting it right in the first time or even in the second or third. The beauty of taking small imperfect steps is that you can constantly adjust, tweak, and improve as you go. And every action gives you new information, which means each step forward gets a little clearer, a little sharpener, Over time, this approach allows for continuous improvement, and you will be amazed at how much progress you make by simply moving forward little by little. And now let's dive into some reflective journaling prompts to help you put these ideas into practice. You can use these prompts to explore different areas of your life. First of all, reflect on a time when taking action leads to unexpected clarity or success. Think back to a moment when you just went for it, even if you didn't feel fully prepared. What happened? How did that experience unfold? And what kind of clarity or breakthrough did you gain by simply starting? Write about how that imperfect step helped move you forward. Next one, write about an area where perfectionism is holding you back. What's one small action you could take today? Identify a project or a goal when you have been waiting for the perfect time to begin, or where you are caught in overthinking. What's one small actionable step you could take right now to start building momentum, even if it feels messy or incomplete? And then, next hack or next journaling prompt, list 3 goals you have been overthinking. What imperfect steps can you take to get started? Jot down 3 goals or ideas that you have been stuck on because you are waiting for things to be just right. And now brainstorm 1 imperfect action you can take for each goal that will help you break the cycle of inaction and move forward. Use these prompts to push past perfectionism, and remember, action, no matter how small or flawed, brings clarity and progress. So let's wrap up with a quick recap. We have explored how clarity and progress don't come from waiting for perfect conditions. They come from taking action, even when it feels messy or uncertain. The key is to just start. And every step, no matter how imperfect, moves you closer to your personal goals and provides valuable insights along the way. Remember, imperfection is part of the journey. And each action you take, whether it's small or flawed, is progress. And over time, those steps compound into something meaningful. The path becomes clearer as you walk it. So here's your challenge for this week. Take 1 imperfect action toward a goal you have been holding back on. It doesn't have to be big or perfect, just a step forward. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, the world is full of possibilities waiting for you to explore. So take imperfect actions. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Soul Time. I'm very grateful because you have given me the greatest treasure of your life, your time. If you enjoyed this episode, click the subscribe button so that you get a notification every time a new episode is out.